Welcome to Learning Life Skills Together. This is our weekly community Zoom meeting where our guests help us to go deeper into the 4 life skills and open up a huge array of chances to practice them. Hello, everyone. This is Learning Life Skills Together, Zoom meeting number 58 with Sean Halloran of Barnstone Art for Kids in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. So Sean is a friend of the program, and you're going to hear more about that in a minute. But first, as always, let's do a little bit of a practice to bring ourselves into a place and a way of feeling and thinking that we can really concentrate on what's going on. So if you'd like, you could find a relaxing way of sitting or standing or lying down. And if you're walking around, that's fine too. If you're driving and listening to this, that's fine too. And figure out a way to be safe and to do what I'm suggesting here. So maybe as you settle yourself, you could decide whether you want to have your eyes closed or your eyes open. And so we're going to do an attention practice. So if your eyes are open, you might choose something in the room or some one thing around you to look at and to focus on. So choose something with a little bit of interest to it and take a look. If you'd like to close your eyes, or even if you don't close your eyes, you could focus on how your body is feeling in one way or another. So you could focus on your hands and the feelings in your hands. You could focus on your feet and the sensations in your feet. And you could even focus on something like your breathing and just noticing that that's happening and noticing what's happening in your body. Maybe it's throughout your body. Maybe it's just not your nose or your chest that's moving. Maybe you could really explore. So when you're ready, just come to that thing that you've chosen to focus on. Bring your attention there. Now, this is not an attention that makes your brow furrow. This is not an attention that makes you make fists. This is an attention that's lighter than that. So your attention is coming and staying in kind of a gentle way and a kind way. We're not trying to get our feelings in our hands to give up their secrets. We're just being there with our hands or our feet or that thing in the room that we've chosen to look at. So one of the things you might notice is you put your attention somewhere and not too soon, not too fast, your attention wanders off, goes somewhere else. We didn't ask it to. It just does that. And that's really how human minds work. We want to check things out. We want to make sure everything's all right. But when we notice that we're doing that, we can come back again to just focusing on that thing that we chose, feeling our hands or our feet, looking at that thing that we have in front of us. And so the game is when we notice that we're not paying attention, we can smile. Oh, that's here I am being human again. And just bring our attention right back. Remembering that we're coming back again in this kind and gentle way because we didn't do anything wrong. This is just how it is to be human. Maybe checking where your attention is one more time, bringing it back if you need to. And then maybe if your eyes have been closed, you open them. If you've been looking at one object, you look away. And so we won't play the game anymore. But you could bring your attention to what we're talking about. So right now, I'm going to ask Sean how this practice was for him and maybe what he notices about himself right now.
Uh, Thank you. And thank you for that experience. That was really, really relaxing. And I found myself paying attention to the points where my body was supported, those the sort of my lower back and my butt and my hands and the way that my feet folded together and were supported by the floor. And just really enjoyed that peaceful feeling of support and just the relaxation that my body was feeling kind of all over. It was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was really nice.
yeah.
It was a nice, nicely led. Thank you.
So as we use our attention in that way, not a forceful way, but a gentle way, we do often have that sort of side effect of feeling more relaxed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm hoping that everybody's getting that part of it, but there's another part too that I'm interested in, Sean, which is what was your experience of your mind going away?
It was almost exactly as you described. It is a little bit of a game. You've got to, and I had to kind of allow myself to focus on, just being centered and feeling relaxed and attending to my body. And some of those little, the sounds of an animal walking into the room kind of took me away briefly. But I was able to come right back, as you said, and just recognize that everything that that all is well, and that I can take the time, and reminded myself,
Yeah,
okay, to take the time to do this.
yeah,
So that was a big part.
perfect. All right then. So I sort of suggested that you have talked with us before, and we have had several meetings. And I was hoping that you might announce what it was that we decided to do together.
Oh boy. Well, I'd be happy to announce that. And the reality was that I do, I really understand, and Barnstone understands that we are in existence because of our partnerships and our connections to the community. And the conversations that we've had, along with Amber and Kian from my staff, we've had just some really exciting conversations that I think are going to culminate in an event that we're hosting at Barnstone Art for Kids in Phoenixville on February 15th, right after the day after Valentine's Day. So love will be in the air, and self-care will be in the air too. Self-love will be in the air, as well as love for our families. We are inviting families from our area to join us, where the caregivers will be given instruction and learning life skills together curriculum with Dr. McCown, and I will be working with the kids on a self-care project, on a project that relates to our topic of just learning to love one another, and learning to kind of how to be great social beings and so forth. So really looking forward to that. The project that I have for the kids, I'm going to keep it under wraps for right now, but
Okay.
suffice it to say, it will be something that will be able to be shared by the whole family, and hopefully something that is
Hmm.
timely, and something that will remind the group and the kids especially of the event and the information that we're going to be sharing with them. So I'm really looking forward to it. We're calling it Hearts and Minds, and we do have another round of emails going out to folks. But yeah, anybody can get in touch with me at Sean@barnstoneartforkids.org, and that's SEAN at barnstoneartforkids.org to ask questions or register. We can get that Evite registration out to you as well. Really, really looking forward to it. And the event will be from noon to 2 on that day. There will be snacks, of course. We have to have snacks. So
Gotta have snacks, gotta come together with everybody,
absolutely,
carers and kids.
exactly. It's all
So, yeah.
church on the 15th. So really looking forward to working with you, Don, and the incredible program that you've got for our families. So
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun for
absolutely.
one thing,
Yep.
and now you've intrigued me by what the kids might be making,
Yeah.
and so that's one of the things I want to talk about with you today.
Yes.
Is this idea of what does making do for us? Because I want to explain, for background for you and for everyone, where we are right now in the development of our program.
Mm,
So we have been working with attention, just like we did, and we've been working with emotion regulation and a lot of techniques that we can use for that.
right.
Um, and one of the techniques I think is worth mentioning, which is name it to tame it.
Mm,
And so that as we look at our feelings and try to figure them out, try to say, what is this that I'm feeling?
mm,
We really do have a lot of words for how we feel.
absolutely.
Kids don't necessarily know all of them or even that many of them.
I
I often tell the story that my son-in-law, who's 45 years old, says, well, I have about three emotions. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm mad, and whatever.
sure.
And so how are you feeling today? Oh, I'm kind of whatever.
Yeah.
And so when we can be more specific,
It,
and here's the thing, that when we spend the time to understand ourselves and to feel really into what's going on with us, that calms us down. That's a technique for regulating our emotions.
yeah.
And so, it's really coming from that name it to tame it idea into I want to make something,
Mm,
or particularly I want to express myself. I want to make something, that feels like I did it.
yeah.
That's connected somehow to me and my experiences. That does this same thing
Right.
in our brains and starts to calm us down.
Hmm.
And so this kind of leads us from just emotion regulation into our next thing, the one that we're starting to post now in the course itself, which
Mm.
is about resilience. And so resilience is about those times when things are not going the way we would like.
Right.
And we're kind of churned up a lot and over a longer period of time. So, sort of the older the kids get,
Mm.
the more we move into that.
Mm.
And quite frankly, you know, this is where the parents start to have to really do some work on their own skills, you know,
Mm.
because nobody likes this. Nobody likes it when things are not feeling good and not going well. And so we have lots of ways of dealing with that. We have lots of what they call coping mechanisms, right?
Absolutely.
And many of them are not that good for us. You
Right.
know, I'm really going to sit down and eat a whole pizza tonight because this is
Right.
awful, right? We do stuff like that,
Right.
and you know, sort of who can blame us? But you know, because it's tough. Life is tough.
Yes.
And as we can begin to understand ourselves and do that looking in and get a little calmer about how we are,
Mm.
we can do something like make something to
Absolutely.
help ourselves sort of shift
Mm.
from where we are, right? Even if it's coming home and making that pizza, that whole process of making the pizza that we have to focus on and get involved moves us into that place, I want to say, of what we were doing when we started.
Right.
We're
Right.
putting our mind on something, it goes away to that stuff. We bring it back because we're working on this. And so, you know, I think that's a really important thing to think about is just what it's doing for us
Mm.
to make something. And so I'm wondering, since you have deep experience in working with kids and in working with kids specifically in this way of making art,
Mm.
if you could talk a little bit about what you see and sort of how you see it working.
Yeah. Yeah, and the processes that you're describing, I think, I've been really fortunate to have been a practicing art therapist and been in environments with kids for, over 25 years where I've seen this, work again and again when we are working with kids. Oh, sorry. Um, uh, the reality is that the intention, as you said, and the willingness to engage is kind of our first step, recognizing that I'm going to try and use this technique to help me calm down. Or with our kids, we're going to recognize that their lives, they have tough lives as well. They've got challenges during the day. And I'll use specifically, I'll use a group that we see each week at our local middle school, at the Phoenixville area middle school. And if any of our viewers can recall middle school, we know that it is a fraught time, a few years where things are really challenging socially, physically, and physiologically. There's a lot going on for
Ow. Yeah.
just a lot. And so we've been working for a number of years with our middle schoolers to present them and teach them a drawing strategy that we actually use called Zentangle. And Zentangle is, kind of a series of doodles and a drawing strategy that we know that when a child any individual is presented with that and they engage with it intentionally, right, and get into it, that they are going to experience a sense of relaxation, a sense of a lower heart rate, and just a sense of where they enter what we call a flow state. Yes, so
Hmm.
our kids are spending a few minutes, and we get together, and there's this amazing energy. It's right after school, and so kids are feeling high energy, and all of the things that have occurred during the day, we try and process those a little bit during our community meeting, just as we did at the outset of our call. And once we've kind of identified how we're feeling, we're going to get into our drawing. And when materials are all disseminated and kids have all of their stuff and we get into it, it goes from, a volume of like 8 or 9 down to one, or, just you can just about hear a pin drop. And it's in those moments that I make a point of saying, hey, can you hear that? We're all very quiet. That means it's working. So the opportunity for young people to experience that themselves and to say, oh, yeah, but they did get quiet in here. And to recognize that their focus has been on their artwork for the last 20, 30 minutes is really pretty powerful for them. It's always something to at the end and say, we've only 5 minutes left in the group. Heads pop up and they say, really, 5 minutes? So time
Ooh,
moves differently when we're
yeah.
state. And it is, the examples are over and over again where I've seen young people pick up and get into their creative moods, right, and their creative practices. That's something I should reinforce as well for anyone. The more we use it, the more effective it's going to be and the more it's going to help us. So there is a cumulative effect to this practice. For example, I'm in my studio almost every day painting, something, applying some mark to some, substrate. That means that it's going to be just that much easier for me to move into that state, that creative flow state. So practice makes perfect, of course. And with kids, it does not have to be fancy oil paints or clay. It can be markers and pencils and construction paper, and the simplest of materials that we have at home can facilitate this process. So making
Yeah.
we should be encouraging every day.
Yeah. So, that point about practice
Oh,
is central. It's the key to what we try to do is
yeah.
get people to learn some of these, I don't even like to call them techniques, to learn some of these deep skills,
Mm,
to how do I work with myself? How do I handle myself?
yeah.
And to do that, to get there to where it's a part of you, not just how you are in that time that you're doing it, but that it becomes who you are. That I'm
Mm,
somebody who does this. I'm somebody who knows how to do this and
yep.
how it helps me. And so we just go automatically to that instead of the pizza.
Yeah. And that is, and I think we both agree, that is a very powerful process to understand, to be conscious and aware, and to be, to bring your focus. I know that this is going to yield a positive result for myself, and being able to go to that is a very powerful tool that we have in our toolbox at that moment.
Ah, yeah. And so sort of two things. I had two thoughts at once.
Yeah.
So maybe I better slow down.
Double dip.
So the first one was that, you know, this idea of doing things as a practice many, many times could sound expensive if you started to talk about making paintings or doing sculpture or something like that. And you sort of alluded to it really doesn't have to be like that. And Barnstone, I think, uses a lot of recycled materials.
Yes.
And most of us have a lot of recycled materials in our houses. There's packaging on everything.
Yeah.
Even the stuff that's organic is still packed,
Absolutely.
So we have so many materials that can just be turned into art materials.
yesterday we
Because
made.
what isn't?
Oh, what is it exactly?
Yeah.
A creative mind will look at an old juice container or a box and see their next great project. Yeah, just yesterday we were working with preschoolers, and for Lunar New Year, it is the year of the snake for those paying attention.
Ah,
And we made recycled, or we made snakes out of recycled bottle caps and plastic milk jug caps and all of that. They came out really cool, little snake puppets, 100% recycled materials. So
yeah.
free stuff is coming into your home every day. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's really important. So there's really not much blocking our kids from being able to do this on the
right,
regular, right?
absolutely.
That's the important thing is that
Um,
they go to Barnstone and they have an experience and then they go, whoa, that was really cool. And
yep.
so we don't say, well, we'll go back next, next Tuesday or whatever. We say, oh, come on, come over here. I
My
got something for you. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of our first, in some of our initial sessions with our kids, we will be talking about and actually creating projects that kind of encourage and try to facilitate that expansion of and generalizing of the art of your art practice, right? Yes, we want to have a really great experience when you're with us at Barnstone, but when you go home, we want you to continue to make art. So one of our first
Yeah.
projects with our young teens is to create their own do-it-yourself sketchbook. So they're making their own sketch,
Mm,
which in
yeah.
itself is an empowering thing. I made this. This is for me. And when I open it up, we're going to demystify the white page, right? That pristine page. And I don't want to wreck anything. I don't want to mess it up. We're going to get them right into just. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's about progress. It's about practice. So sometimes kids make sketchbooks that are really only to put like stickers and stuff that they want in. It is a function of just getting the practice started with any materials that they can use.
Yeah. And so here's the other piece that I wanted to talk about with
Sure.
this. And this applies to parents just as much as it applies to the kids.
Mm,
When we are making something, like I said, even that pizza,
mm,
or a piece of art, or we see that carton over in the corner and we go like, I know what that could be.
yeah.
I know what I'm doing with that. When we're doing that, the thing is that we're stepping out of our story.
Mm,
It's the story that we're telling ourselves all the time that
mhm.
makes us, want to eat that pizza whole. That gives us that feeling of So when we can step out of that, we either step out of it and take a look at how things are and go like, oh, well, wait a minute. This isn't what I thought it was now that I see it. So
Right.
there's that. And there's no, I can absorb myself in this thing that I'm doing, which you were saying about the Zen tangle
Oh yeah.
that you like to do with the kids.
Yeah.
Once you are kind of locked into that, it's like all the story, the chatter, the ticker tape of the mind is tapping out,
Yeah.
just pauses
Yeah.
and
Doesn't go away. You're absolutely right.
doesn't go away.
The pause is the right
It's
word.
a pause.
Yeah.
And so this is how we handle those longer time periods
Mm,
where we're not where we want to be and the world isn't doing what we want, right?
yeah.
So we turn and we look at it and we calm ourselves and we figure out, can I do something right now to help?
Right.
What can I do? And then, you know what? Maybe we're tired after thinking through all that and we need a break.
Mm,
And so to make something, or even to go for a walk, to go all the way back to our sort of first module of teaching, just to do something that will make us feel different.
Mm.
Gives us that pause, it gives us that break. And then because we need to, we can go back again when we're ready to look at what's happening with us.
Mm-hmm.
It's when we stop looking, it's when we turn away that we really start to break down our health and our mental health, you know.
Mm. I agree.
So this kind of approach, this idea of making is just so profound.
I agree.
And yeah,
We were talking about other opportunities as well, and you mentioned, making that pizza. It yes can be, arts related. It can be dance. It can be, baking or what,
yeah,
you name it, right? So
yeah,
I'm just lucky. I love, art as a vehicle, for this process. I think is for me and for the kids and Barnstone. It's proven its value so many times, and yeah, I can't say when. Well, having this connection with your work and the families, I think I'm really excited about this event that we're hosting, and I think it's going to be a really
yeah,
mean.
yeah. So what I want to say
Yeah,
is that, when the parents come and they see what's going on, it may be something that they want to pick up.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe they used to draw.
Hmm.
We all used to draw.
Yeah.
We're mostly done by sixth grade or age six, even
Yeah.
depending on the feedback that we got.
It's a little late. Yeah, I've found, yeah, like 9, 10, 11 years old. It's right as they're starting to enter middle school, and
Yeah,
we're like, well, that's great that you like that, but you've got to start attending to math, and you've got to start attending, and
yeah,
we devalue those experiences. So
yeah. And so they come back, and as somebody who has a certain amount of silver hair, I want to say that we do come back to
yeah,
these things. I've seen people, pick up where they left off when they were 14,
yeah,
you know, and it really does something. It really helps you, it rejuvenates you, and it gets you through the aging process,
yes,
which in which we need to be resilient. I mean,
yeah,
so
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
so parents and carers are going to get, quite a bit out of
Yeah,
being at and with Barnstone and
yep,
the art for kids,
yeah, yeah.
and so
It
and
is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no,
Pardon.
no, I was going to say, and of course, we're going to introduce the Learning Life Skills Together program
Absolutely.
to them so that they can sort of take that home too. You can take doing art home, and you can take practicing your skills.
Yep. Yeah, it would be. I think. Yeah. The we're loading up their toolboxes, and yeah, as I say, I think that the idea of hosting families and having them all go home, with this experience, I think we've got a really great shot at families, creating plans for their whole household to
Yeah.
make art together. That's one of my my favorite group activities is doing family murals and so forth. And so we'll talk about that with our
Oh,
folks as well.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I warned you at
Oh yes.
before we started this recording that I was going to ask you for some words of wisdom. That's
Mm,
how we try to end with our guest sending us off.
yes. That is the word. I think. So there is there's always a sense of apprehension. I don't have time for this. This isn't my thing. I was never an artist. There's always ample things that our brain will offer up as obstacles to getting to this work, this self-care work. And I would say that we have to be curious, one, and that orientation is something that we have to practice. But being curious is a really, really important part of this. uh, and open, of course, but also saying yes, and not and
Hmm.
pushing against some of those long held beliefs about ourselves as makers, ourselves as people who intentionally take care of ourselves. Right, as you mentioned, our families and our adult lives, we get messages that these things are not valuable. So, my piece of advice: let's be curious and let's recognize these strategies for the value that they have for us. So, there you go. That was a lot.
Wonderful. No, I mean, my brain lit up when you said curiosity because that's
Curiosity.
really a big part of sort of the artistic drive, isn't it?
It,
I wonder what might happen.
what's going to happen when I do this? Yeah.
What's this gonna be? Yeah.
Yes.
And I will leave with one of my um words of wisdom, which is that you can't be anxious and curious at the same time. And so curiosity, you guys, I invite everybody who hears this to check this out.
Mm,
If you get curious about something, even if it's just about why am I feeling this way, it will change. Things
absolutely.
will shift. And yeah, that's also how the brain works, the mind.
Hmm.
So, Sean, it has been wonderful talking with you as always, and I am really looking forward to the 15th.
Me too. Me too. It's going to be a great day, and I'm so grateful for your partnership and your program, and we can't wait for our day. Thank you.
Yeah.